World of Radio is a listener-supported public service program about communications around the world. On this edition recorded April 15th, Alaska, Andorra, Bangladesh, Canada, China, Cuba, Eritrea, France, Germany, Indonesia, Iran, Italy, Japan, Peru, Lithuania, Mali, Myanmar, North America, Peru, Romania, South Carolina, Spain, UK, USA, Vanuatu, Venezuela, Vietnam, and the propagation outlook. Standard disclaimer. The A21 shortwave season now well underway, and most versions of the schedules have been updated. They're conveniently linked from our homepage, worldofradio.com. Also, there's a new time for World of Radio via IRWS across Europe. Not on Wednesday as we were expecting last week, but instead it is Saturday at 18:01 UT on 7290. The Radio Andorra Tribute Hit Parade across Europe, we reported last week for April 12th, was widely heard between 1700 and 2045 UT on 6180 via Austria. If you would still like to hear this 40-year anniversary of their hit parade, there is a recording of it available at mixcloud.com, a very complicated URL, which has appeared in the World of Radio IO group. On March 29th at 1810 UT, Dr. Hanscher Wiener in Germany said, Bangladesh Qatar's transmitter on 4750 seems to have been repaired. Instead of the usual distortions, Voice of Islam had clear audio. Also, Jorge Freitas in Bahia, Brazil reports hearing it April 9th, from 1948 until ending at 2000 in Bengali. Local music and talk with fair reception. Note their English broadcasts are scheduled for 1745 until 19 UT, and also at 1230 until 1300. April 13th at 0254 UT, I heard a Canadian Coast Guard station on 2749 USB, not with marine rudder, but a message about COVID-19 travel restrictions, apparently against U.S. vessels entering Canadian waters. This is listed as BCS 21 in Halifax. Paul Simon is in BC since he's heard 7 announcements from the station in Prince Rupert. Halifax went into French for the same thing before 0258. Cuba keeps some of its jammers running long after Radio Marti closes down on certain frequencies. And sometimes we hear some beeping, which are obviously associated with the Cuban jamming. This is April 9th at 2025 on 13606. They were about 3 at a time, and otherwise there were 2 tones alternating, about 1 kilohertz above the main channel. I've noticed something similar before on 11930 and 11860. It's hard to imagine any intelligence being conveyed by this non-coded beeping. A few hours later, I was logging them on 11930 and 11860, April 10th at 0215. I call them cute beeps. Hardly 2 tones, but when continuous, they're running at the rate of 72 per minute, but not lasting a full minute in any instance. I'd say it's probably one of the multiple jamming sites piling up on each Marti frequency. Will we ever have access to details about them in the post-revolutionary era? Yet another case was April 12th at 1510 on 9805.4. These beep streams are continuous at a rate of 100 per minute. Last week I mentioned that Radio Vanuatu had shown up in English on an unexpected frequency, and probably by mistake, 11850. Next day it was back to Spanish, but it's happened again to another frequency, 13740. April 14th at 0113, surprise, RC in English and better than the scheduled channel 6000 and 6165. Also, at about a quarter past the hour of their English broadcast, they started including weather for North America, everywhere from the U.S. to Central America to Cuba itself, from Cuba's chief meteorologist. Perhaps it's a way of one-upping Radio Marti, which has long provided Cuban weather from afar. Easily, then else has some info about scheduling changes for Radio Marti according to HFCC. On UT Mondays only, they've added an hour from 04 until 05 on 6030, 7335, and 7035. Also, the 5980 frequency, which is 5 days a week between 22 and 03 UT, has increased power from 250 to 500 kilowatts from Greenville. And Leonov also reports reception of Radio Tigray Media House, or DMC Tigray via France, April 14th, between 15 and 16 UTM, 17870. Good reception, but some noise jamming. As heard via a remote in Russia. In the national flash sheet, Ralph S. W. Perry in Illinois logged the same in more detail. April 10th, starting at 1459 on 17870. A good signal, though there was a heterodyne. Jamming started a minute earlier at 1458, the carrier that is. But when Issedon signed on, it obliterated most of the jammer, creating the het. At 20 seconds past 1500, the Radio Tigray program started. He says, with much echo announcements, a burst of Horn of Africa music, sign on in Tigrinya. Another couple of Horn of Africa music breaks, and then into a newscast at 1502, including some remote feeds. He says, I must notch and listen in narrower bandwidth, resulting in muddier audio. The jamming sounds like vacuum cleaner rushing noise, coming in bursts. There was pop music at 1509, and at 1510 an ID is still strong at 1530, but the jamming making it hard to listen, now sounding like rushing waves coming and going. We've long suspected that Ethiopia acquired some DRM transmitters and to use for the purpose of jamming. We must wonder how the consortium feels about that. Ron Raymond forwards news from Atlantic 2000, but they'll be on the air Saturday, April 17th from 09 to 10 UT via Channel 292 in Germany, 6070 and 9670, and also streaming radioatlantic2000.free.fr. According to VU2JOS, World India Radio now is active with a Chinese language service at 2345 until 0115 via Bengaluru on 13710. But beware, it so happens that China is also jamming with Chinese language, so be careful on assuming what you're hearing based on language alone. Like Salmanev in BC says, superb reception at midnight 55 UT April 12th with floating Indian music way over Channel Chinese. There are many external sources anymore, but this one is still very strong. When checking HFCC, I hit upon a completely imaginary schedule for Indonesia, such as 3325 relayed via Playa de Pals, the long-destroyed Radio Liberty site on the coast of Spain, and there are 53 entries altogether for long-gone domestic sites. The language specified for all of them, English. Why not? These are presumably sprinkled throughout the bi-frequency A21 schedule, so beware. Why in the world don't they delete them? In reality, there are only 2 shortwave frequencies left from Indonesia, conveniently reported just now by Ron Howard. 3325, Voice of Indonesia via Palangkaraya, April 15th from 14 UT in Bahasa Indonesia, with their news and patriotic song, Majimu Negeri, which means for you, our country. And then the other frequency, 4749.95, via Chimangas, Jakarta, April 12th at 1200 to 1218, with unusual reception. He was able to hear them clearly in Japanese, mixing with China in Chinese, and Bangladesh had not yet started on that frequency. On that date, the other VOI frequency, Palangkaraya 3325, had a strong carrier but no audio. On April 14th, he again had positive VOI reception at 1311 to 1314, just below 4750. And this was after the news in English when they played their national song. Then it was mixing with China and Bangladesh's test tone. BB started at 1314 with time pips at 1315. And on a related topic, Walter Eibel of WWDXC reminds us that Ramadan started the evening of April 12th and ends on May 11th. The traditional Muslim event depends on the moon calendar, so the date will differ each year, and perhaps from country to country depending on geography. During Ramadan, most shortwave services in Islamic countries will broadcast extended schedules, allowing some rare catches of those stations. The main station with such extended schedules on shortwave is Pars Today, or voice of the so-called Republic of Iran. And Ivanov has a schedule of those extensions in area languages. Midnight 23 to 120, 6150 in Turkish. 1923 to 2250, 7405 in Azeri. 2123 to 2250, 6110 in Tajik. 2253 to midnight 20, 6160 in Arabic. 2253 to midnight 20, 7225 in Arabic. 2253 to 0320, 7330 in Azeri. 2323 to midnight 20, 7325 in Kurdish. These, of course, are timed for pre-sunrise in the target areas where people are up early to break their fast before they fast. Now, no retail wonders if there are any other shortwave stations doing this besides Iran. Well, one is Srinagar, according to Joe's Jacob, of course in Kashmir, an Islamic area. 4950 is announced as being on early, approximately 2205 to 2305 UT, but he's yet to hear it, perhaps due to skip conditions. There are also AM and FM. However, nowadays has found a couple of medium wave stations in countries where Muslims are very much in the minority that are nevertheless favoring them with these extra early broadcasts. Radio Thailand 891 with Islamic programming overnight, and National Radio of Kampuchea starting at 2000 UT, maybe something new. According to statistics, Thailand has only 5% Islamic population, mostly in the south near Malaysia, and Kampuchea has 2%. In that case, he must be referring to medium wave 918, which has 600 kilowatts. Ken Zicki in Michigan notes that one of the few English broadcasts left from Radio Japan is announcing 7355, but it's actually from 7335. Heard UT Saturday, April 3rd at 0510 to 0530. This is the same frequency used by Radio Marti earlier, and he says jamming usually lasts well past it leaves at 0400. But there was no jamming on this occasion. The other Japan frequency is via Vatican on 7245. The weekend timing is 05 to 5:30, and the weekday timing 04:30 to 05. Once the sun is up over Europe as early as 06 UT, I'm no longer hearing transatlantic medium wave carriers, but I do have one on 846, which is surely from Christmas Island in the Pacific, where it's well after sunset, which looks like it's spelled carrier to Norway. I heard it both on April 14th and 15th. From the phone UKR-TVR via Rustix. This is about the 1386 transmitter in Lithuania. They say after the death of Rimantas Plekis, there's no one to contact for the timetable. But on the sites of various radio stations, you can find changes in the schedules. Here's some preliminary information. I won't mention all of them. There are many in Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, Belarusian, German. There's English from Poland at 12 to 13 UT. Of some interest is the Belarusian service of Radio Liberty. It starts at 18 UT, followed by Russian at 19, and more Belarusian from 19 until 21. The media magazine you monitor with your mind. World of Radio 2082. Also bringing you the non-commercial website, worldofradio.com. Our thanks this week for financial support from Chuck Ermatinger in Missouri, who sent 2 contributions via PayPal to WORADIO@yahoo.com in U.S. funds, but not necessarily. One may also contribute via money order or check in U.S. funds on U.S. Bank to Glenn Hauser, PO Box 1684, ENID, OK, 73702. Now a bit of a detective story I enjoyed pursuing. WBCQ was reportedly coming up on a new frequency, 13570, not. I'm checking it out anyway on April 10th and 11th. I was hearing a barely audible carrier about 13570.735. It was on the air between 1830 and 1930. It's heard via the remote in Holland, only of course not here, which would seem to come from the CRI Arabic relay via Mali on 13685. The next day, April 11th, I checked the exact same displacement above 13,685 and found the same thing, 13,799.44, and it went off by 1930. So that clinches it as Spurs out of the Mali relay. Dmitry Mezin in Russia tells us that KNLS made some frequency changes April 14th. The Chinese hour at 11 UT moved from 9735 to 9730 to avoid Taiwan and Japanese on 9730. Myanmar's on 9730. Ron Howard in California was hearing it on April 12th, 2 days earlier, on the air late until 11:53, and on the 9th until 11:44. They had CNR1 jamming, but no sound of hope, which might have been the target. KNLS will certainly block Myanmar reception. Dmitry Mezin replies, the Chinese jammer with CNR1 audio is fairly good, even here in Kazan, Russia, to say nothing of the Far East. For KNLS, their frequencies run through FCC approval. It looks like FCC relies on official occupancy data, which fails to mention both Sound of Hope and CNR on 9730. Tibor Gaud in Hungary says it would be a good idea if these maintainers of the registry would read DX publications where they could find out what's going on in reality, not only in the register, which only shows theoretical allocations. Thanks to tips from Mickey Belnage in Alberta and Harold Fudge in Michigan, I was hearing the pirate MRI Mixed Radio International on 6885 USD, April 11th, IDA was midnight 14 and into Wichita lineman. Certainly not by Glenn Campbell. This led me off on a tangent to discuss how illogical that song's lyrics are. If she is a lineman for the county, should it be Sedgwick lineman? This pirate was being widely reported all over the continent, even in the daytime, according to HF Underground. Thanks to a tip from Lucio Otavio Bobrovich in Brazil about the Spanish-speaking Latin American on 5752. He figured it would be Juan Carlos Mil Peru, since it had been missing from its former frequency 4764 for several weeks. I got on it immediately via remote in Bonaire and later Boa Vista. At midnight 30 UT, it measured on 4752.15. They were doing the remote from Casa de Campesinos. Everything matches up for Radio Juan Carlos Mil, although I did not hear a specific ID. And it suddenly went off the air at midnight 35. April 13th from 2358, I was hearing it again, measured on 4752.464. I'm still going past midnight 26th, but gone at the next check, midnight 35. The next night, always via remotes, almost the same frequency, 4752.468. Tuned in at midnight 24, and it cut off the air at midnight 28. In the World of Radio group, a discussion about Radio Romania International. Craig Chris says, anyone have any correspondence, email from RRI? I have not since late December. No QSLs, no schedules, no happy Easter wishes. Tibor Gaal in Hungary replies, you should not expect anything from them due to the coronavirus crisis. QSL in these times when air traffic is limited or non-existent. Well, Somenev says, I wrote a lengthy report to the Ukrainian service at the beginning of January and not a peep from them as of April. And Dr. Hans-Jörg Biener in Germany explains in detail. As far as I know, the staff of RRI avoid all physical contact and work from home. As all regular listeners to the German program know, sending QSL cards has been a problem in recent years due to budget and woman power. QSLs were printed late in the year. We were told that the person handling the QSL mail was a freelancer who was hired and laid off due to the financial situation. In the mailbag program of German, answering reception reports by email was proposed by listeners, but I do not know if any EQSLs from that German service have come. At least my reports were not answered. But they do acknowledge all correspondence in their weekly mailbag program. On 28 March, Sorin Georgescu had this to say about the QSL situation. The cards of the new QSL series are here and ready to be sent. However, you have to be patient because one single person is responsible for processing reports for all language services. She answers the QSL requests in monthly batches, which means you will receive QSLs for your reception reports about a month to a sesqui month later. Last Friday, she informed me she had taken care of the January mail and would soon have February finished as well. Chris says they are more than a sesqui month behind. He emailed them again, asking if everyone there is okay, and did get a reply attaching EQSLs for January to April and their summer leaflet. Meanwhile, Romania's transmissions had been messed up. I heard them in English on 9660, April 9th and 10th, until 0555, but they're not supposed to be on that frequency. In April 11th at midnight 3, they had news in English on 4 frequencies instead of only 2. The others were supposed to be in Romanian. That is 9730 and 7420 in Romanian, 9550 and 7375 in English. On April 14th, they were back to a split of 2 each around 01 UT. The 7420 had a problem. The transmitter strength was pulsing and its frequency was varying slightly until it cut off the 101.5. South Carolina WRMI is still carrying many recorded broadcasts of the very late Brother Scare, many of them when he's trying to sing, but there have been some reductions. I've noticed that the overnight frequency 7570 has been completely off the air, and 7780 has not been carrying either, after other programming ends at 0400. We've kept trying to hear Spain on its North American frequency for the summer, 17855. Much of the time it's either off the air or not propagating or both. Finally, for the first time in the season, on April 14th, it was on about past 22 UT when English started on a Wednesday and faded out before the half hour was over. Most of the time, we're still forced to try frequencies beamed elsewhere if we want to hear English, 15520. 11940 or even 11685. At medium wave mast, and Goldfarb says on a surprisingly large scale, BBC has announced a major reduction to take place in May and June to their local medium wave services. 10 stations are being closed down. Most of them lives in McGarvey, Ulster, Northern Ireland, will no longer be using the Balun Tower for 1340.